clearly. So I don't know. First time for everything. They're usually very good. You know, they send them people out, and you know, he couldn't see me where I was standing because I was, you know, you're told to stand outside when they come. So there was a big truck or something in the way, and he was on the other side of the truck. I didn't see him, he didn't see me. He called me. He said, "Are you still going?" I said, "Yeah, I'm standing outside." Then he pulls up. So, nice guy, nice ride. You know, by the time we got to where I had to be at, I was late. They were calling me to reschedule. I said, "Oh my goodness, we're pulling up now." So, but nonetheless, it happens. It happens. So, I wanted to real quickly talk to you guys about some of the harmful effects that, you know, people who live next to some of these. I talked to my sister and she's like, "Oh, they're building these big data centers." Data centers is the big move because, you know, we live in the information age and they power the internet. You know, they power social media. You know, they power a lot of our part things, the digital things in society that affect our everyday life. You know, because all that information and stuff, you know, your watches, your phones, any kind of smart device, stuff like that, you know, those data centers are, you know, pretty prudent. And so they're going up everywhere, a lot of places. You know, like I said, my sister's down in Atlanta. She said they're building a big one. It's very close to where we live. So I had looked up some of the, you know, a lot of the complaints because people are complaining. People are starting to come forward and complain, you know, that these things are, you know, there's all, it's like a landfill next to your house, you know. And it's like all that stuff is plugged into the power grid, and you know, you got constant lights on, or you know, the humming sound of the cooling systems to keep these places cool. They just make so much noise. So some of the negative, harmful effects, the harmful effects that most people are experiencing, you know, to their health, to their well-being, because they live near a data center, you know, and they've been probably living there for a while, and they're just coming forward now. But, you know, they're building them everywhere. So if there's going to be one coming near you, you'll probably be trying to go down to the town hall eventually and start making complaints too. You know, people will get together and start saying, "Hey, man, this thing they just built over here is like, you know, I'm having headaches and stuff." It says some of the things that people are reportedly stating that the harmful effects, tendinitis, I don't know how that works, but that's one of them. Sleepless nights, headaches, and also some dizziness from some of the fumes, because people are inhaling or breathing when you live. It's just like living near a factory, and if there's some kind of, you know, carbon emission or something that's coming from a factory because of the, you know, the powered engines, the diesel powered engines, and the smoke, just really makes for it to be a toxic, you know, neighbor. You know, and hey, you guys, do me a favor, smash that like button, man. You come on in, man. Appreciate you guys for joining me, and I hope you guys are having a great Friday. Just talking about these toxic data centers. So now the other thing too about that, a lot of people, you know, there's discussion. Hey, well, you know, you see the big mega data centers being built, but there are people who are investors, you know, and they say, well, you know, we could build something that kind of helps with the grid, right? We got some land, about 5 acres. So we'll build something about the size of a, you know, uh, a 50 by 50 foot structure. Nothing too big, nothing too crazy, but it can, also turn around and generate some, some income. Smoke, what's up with you? What up, Big Smoke? And so, like that discussion there of, hey man, if I had like 5 or 6 acres of land, would I build like some kind of a power grid? Because people get more and more into trying to be a part of the on-chain ecosystem. If you can contribute to that, there's money to be made. Much like when people say, man, we got land and we got those towers up there that your phone signal bounces off of. Like, we just sold some of the land to the telecommunication company or whatever, and they got on our land, we might have one of those towers and stuff, and they pay you a certain amount of money for that because just to use that land to construct like a tower or something, or even if there's solar panels on your land or property, you can sell some of that, harness some of that energy and sell it back to the town or city that you live in. Definitely will cut down on your electrical bill. But now the discussion is the data centers. The data centers are now becoming the discussion. Of course, there's money to be made, and of course, if you have land and you want to, it's just like mining. If you were mining Bitcoin, you have these mining facilities that they have, and it's all part of the digital ecosystem. It's all part of the, because when they go to do this, when they get ready to have these quantum computers and things like that, it's going to require a lot of energy, the power grid and stuff like that. Yeah, Tony. So that's one of those things that you say, oh, maybe I'd like to invest in constructing something about the size of a garage, a 2-car, a 3-car garage. Back in the woods, I got about 5 acres back there, and it'll turn you over a couple. You'd be surprised, being turned you over a couple $1 million actually over a few years. The return on your investment to become a part of that ecosystem, which is thriving, because they're going to keep having to have data centers. You see fiber optics going all over the place in the ground. They're putting this money, they're doing all across America. It's happening. And like I said, this is one of those discussions. You know what I'm saying? Hey there, how you doing, sir? ST straight from Master. I don't know if I said that right, but happy Friday to you, man. How are you? How's it going? Appreciate the like from you guys, man. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Be careful in the comments. I have a mod. Okay, Streamster. There you go. All right, that number 4 messed. Okay, I see. That's what's up. All right. Well, appreciate you for joining me, Streamster. I'm trying to finish up my week over here with you guys. I was just, trying to have the discussion about those data centers, but a lot of people won't think, firstly, some people that probably do have the land to do it, but don't want to get involved because of, they don't want to have nothing to do with anything that's going to be harmful to the environment. You know what I'm saying? And there's that whole thing too there, that a lot of people, you don't want to get on the wrong side, get on people's wrong side. I heard people talking about, oh, they cutting down all the trees. Let the trees live, man. They're going to start charging us for oxygen soon. When it's free. But those trees are used. There's that energy right there. That's 2 types of energy right there. You know what I'm saying? when you take away from one, you got to replace the other one somehow. I don't know how they gonna. What? You got to replant seeds. How about that? So if you're gonna cut down some trees, just replant trees. I mean, I'm okay with that. You know. But anyway. Yeah, so it's a little one of them things that if you have a data center or something like that, or some kind of big power grid type of thing being erected or constructed or is under construction, you know, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you live near something like that. Okay, if it's in your city or in your town already, currently. You know, please, in the comments, let us know how is that, if it's causing any kind of disturbance to the neighborhood. You know, is the data center a good neighbor? Right? Is the data center a good neighbor, or is the data center disrupting the peace in the neighborhood? Because once they build one of those things in your neighborhood, it just may disrupt your peace of mind, your sleep. Who knows, right? You might mess up the environment. You might have some roses in your garden. You know what I'm saying? And this year, we hope that those roses come back just as rosy red as the year before. But if the data center comes in and starts smogging up the place, it might not have them rosy red roses. Anyway, let me know what you think, man. I'm your boy Swizzy. Do your favorite, share the video, like the video, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, man. And appreciate you for joining me. I'm not gonna stay up here with you guys so long. This is a short video, but appreciate you guys for hitting that like button. Peace.